What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Good Success Quick Tips. Today I have Gary Harper with me. He is the Vice President of Good Success and also owner of Sharper Process. Is it Business Process?
Nope, Sharper Business Solutions.
I can't say. I don't know why I get it wrong. But
Real simple.
It is really simple. But he's with us today, and he's going to be talking about the 10 steps to hire. He actually had a quick tip video on Delegate and Elevate, which is going to be complementing this very well. So if you guys haven't watched that, make sure you go check it out. I'll leave it linked below for you. So I'm going to let him have it. But 10 steps to hire. What do you have for us today, Gary?
Yeah, so go back and watch the video first before you watch this one on Delegate and Elevate, because the very first step in 10 steps to hire, Josh, is Delegate and Elevate. We have to know what we're going to delegate and what we need to hire for. And so many times we will bring in somebody into an organization just off of like we need help, but we don't know what we need help with yet. So when we do Delegate and Elevate, it helps identify through that process what you need to hire for, and those are your weak areas. So we do that. That's number one. Number two is we identify our new hire candidate. Most companies have a new hire process. If you don't have one, I recommend you process and map it out and just start it from Delegate and Elevate's done. You'll end it with new hire has been identified. So once you've done that, you've identified your new hire process and how you're going to go about sourcing your candidate. That's step two. Okay. The third one is now you have the candidate in front of you, and that candidate needs to know whether or not he's a good fit for you and you're a good fit for them. It's not always just about if they have the skill set to do the job. We need to make sure they match our core values. We need to make sure that they're going to match the culture of our company. So I like to, at this point, review and read our core values speech to them. And at that time, I'm going to explain to them our core values, what the meaning is behind the core values, and how we use those values in our organization. Because in a business like Good Success, where Good Success stands for the good success of the Bible in Joshua 1:8, you're going to know real quickly our core values, that we are a Christian-based organization. And if that is not for you, then it's not going to be for you to be able to work here. So we want to make sure we're clear, upfront, and honest. We don't want anybody coming in and feeling uncomfortable about who we are, how we conduct business. And then number four is we want to review the process map or the job description. So many people give a company or give a candidate a job description. I like to actually give them the process, okay? And say, all right, this is what you would be doing. If it's multiple things, then we're going to try to identify what those multiple things are and what the process is to getting that job done. And then we're going to ask them, do you get it? Do you want to do it? And then we're asking one very key question that a lot of people ask is, do they have the capacity? Do they have the time requirements needed to do the job? And is that 8 to 5? Is that 9 to 6? What does that look like? And not just capacity from a time standpoint, but a mental capacity and things like that. So we want to ask, do you get the job? Do you want the job? Do you have the time capacity to do it? And that's based off of the job description and the processes that we've outlined. The next step, which is step number 6, is we're going to give you an offer letter. It's important to outline in that offer letter what that job description is, what your expectations are, and what the pay compensation is. You don't want anybody coming on board with you that doesn't quite understand all the nuances of the job and how they're going to get paid, when they're going to get paid. Job description, offer letter should outline all that, okay? Now once you've given that, then I like to do a test called a COBE-A. And that COBE-A helps identify your core genius, helps identify their core genius. And then in that, you can take and then measure the 4 different quadrants of how they measure up against each other. So for example, and Fact Finder is one of them, one of the 4 quadrants of COBE-A. And if I measure, it's a scale of 1 to 10. If I measured out at an 8 and somebody else measured out at a 2, well, COBE says that anytime there is a difference of 4 points or more, you're going to have friction. So you need to understand that. But that might be a good thing, because you may have a COBE that doesn't allow you to do the job that you need it to do, because you don't have the concentration or the focus to get it done, and this person would. But you just need to know that when you've hired that person, they're going to have that focus, and that may rub you wrong, because it may take them longer to get things done or whatever, but that's what you need, and that's what that job requires. Then I like to do the 16 personality profile. Now all this is after giving a job offer. And I like to do a 16 personality profile, and that personality profile gives me the personality of that person. Somebody's personality profile, you say, well, why COBE and the personality profile? Well, COBE is more of what your core genius is. It's what your God-given ability is, what you've been actually born with. Kathy COBE says that really doesn't change throughout your life, but your personality might. You might go from a direct person to not so direct throughout your life, depending on if you have kids. I know that when I had kids, my personality changed to more of a direct person. It was the nature of my life, it was where I was, and it's who I needed to be. So that's how my personality naturally adapted. The next thing is I like to create a PIP. It's called a performance improvement plan. And that's a plan that outlines the activities of that job that's coming off that job description or that process map, and what my expectations are. When do I want those things done? How quickly? What's the turnaround time? What the expectations of the client might be, what my expectations might be. And I want to outline that in this 1 to 2 page document. And I'm going to ask that person to sign it. Then I take it and I transpose it into a spreadsheet, very simple spreadsheet, but I take the activities and I'll transpose it in there, and then I want to determine a time that we're going to train on each one of those things. So that's all laid out and given to that prospect employee so that they know what type of training they're going to receive. And there's a place for a signature of my signature, a place for their signature, and a place for my signature if I'm training them or whoever I do deem necessary to train them. Now the last step is I want to schedule a 90-day review. Now this person's on board, they're working, they're doing their job for me. In 90 days, I'm going to be reviewing the process again. I'm going to review their GWC. Do they still get it? Do they still want to do the job? And do they still have the capacity to do the job? And do they still match up with the core values that I outlined earlier in the process? Because if any of those things have gone awry at this point, I want to bring them all back together and make sure that we're all on the same page, pulling the same direction. And if you can do that in your business and surround yourself with a bunch of people like that, you won't ever hit the ceiling. You'll actually go farther in business than you could ever imagine.
Great stuff. So yeah, that's awesome stuff. And we'll leave the entire list. Gary's got it in his outline right here. We'll leave it listed below for you guys with the links to the couple of tests that we have for you. So awesome stuff, Gary. Thanks, you. He hired me, so he did a good job of keeping to this, by the way. So anyway, that's going to do it for today's quick tip episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.